Action.
Welcome to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I'm excited because there's more people here today. I'm Thundercloud. Hi Mum, it's James. We're going to have some linguistic games. Welcome back Saul, wonderful to see you. Welcome to our new reader John, Ashley, Gladys, Gabriel, Skye and Doug. It's good to see everybody and everybody out there in YouTube. We're not going to be broadcasting on Facebook anymore and just YouTube. We'll record it and then upload it to YouTube and then share it to Facebook so we can get a good quality video each time, and I can also put a title thing on it. All right. I'll take a breath. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which I broadcast, the Kamilaroi, the Bambai, and acknowledge the continuing connection of the elders past, present, emerging, and acknowledge sovereignty has never been ceded. Okay, I did my Chill and Tuesday poetcast last night, vidcast, and the quality was so poor that you could hardly hear anything. So I've practiced these poems quite well, and I'll be doing them again what I did last night. Now, last week, excuse me, I had a visit from a guy called Mitch down from Bellow Way, brought his girlfriend here. He'd been here before, and he wanted to read a particular poem that he knew was in the library, and he introduced me to it, and so I read it out, and I really liked it too. And so here goes. It's by Roderick Quinn. He was born in 1867. He died in 1949. So he lived a pretty long old life, about what's that, 82 years or something like that. The Fisher. All night long, a noise of leaping fish went round the bay, and up and down the shallow sands sang waters at their play. The mangoes drooped on salty creeks and through the dark, making a pale patch in the deep, gleamed as it swam a shark. In streaks and twists of sudden fire among the reeds, the brim went by, and where they passed, the bubbles shone like beads. All night the full, deep drinking song of nature stirred, and naught beside save leaping fish and some forlorn night bird. No lost wind wandered down the hills to tell of wide, wild waterways on velvet move the silky sucking tide. Deep down there sloped in shadowy mass a giant hill, and midway mirrored in the tide the stars burned large and still. The fisher, dreaming on the rocks, heard nature say strange secrets, things that none may hear upon the beaten way, and whisperings and wonder stirred, and hopes and feared, and sadness touched his heart and filled his eyes with star-stained tears. And so, thrilled with joy and love and sweet distress, he stood entranced, enchained by her full-breasted loveliness.
Who wrote that?
Roderick Quinn, R-O-D-E-R-I-C-Q-I-N-N. Yeah, I know I did a good job when I get goosebumps at the end.
He's been channeling Charles Harper.
Obviously,
it's got a real Charles Harper flow,
yeah.
Outreaching into space.
Beautiful. I particularly like the way, even though it's sort of this. They're quatrains, but every second line's got a shorter metre than the first one.
Do you know anything about him?
Yeah, actually in the back here.
Like that's a good piece of writing. Fine.
I did. look this up, and I did read this out last
Right.
night, if I can find him.
I know the name, but I can't recall.
Born in Sydney, attended the Morris Brothers School with E.J. Brady at St Ignatius College with Christopher Brennan. Studied law briefly, became a freelance writer and journalist, contributing regularly to the Bulletin.
So he was back in the late 1800s or something, was he?
1867 to 1949. So he's a bit of a banjo contemporary, really.
At his height around Federation.
He lived a hell of a lot longer.
Yeah, Federation.
Lived a hell of a lot longer than the other fellow, Henry Wilson. So last night I did a D.H. Lawrence one, but he was only in Australia for a couple of months, it was too long. I didn't like it. So
Which one was it?
Kangaroo. Yeah. It's nice, but I'm just not here to. It's not the place to do it. I'd just like to pick out some of the ones that I do particularly like. There was I went through a whole lot here. This was a really one I liked a lot. Gwen Harwood. She was born in Brisbane, but she ended up in Tasmania. She was born in 1920. I'll read you a bit about her as well, because she was fantastic. She was born in Taringa in Queensland, grew up in Brisbane. She was a musician and church organist before she married Bill Harwood in 1945, when he was appointed to a lecturership in the English department at the University of Tasmania. She was sorry to leave Brisbane, but she came to love Tasmania and became a close friend of James Macaulay in the 1960s. She published poems under a series of pseudonyms, Walter Lehman and Francis Geyer, in particular because she felt Vincent Buckley, poetry editor of the Bulletin, was prejudiced against female poets. Later, she became one of Buckley's greatest admirers, and she died of cancer. It's really funny because there was like three poets in a row here, and all died of cancer in a row. That's how it doesn't happen to us. Anyway, this is called A Simple Story. I like it a lot because it speaks to the sexual harassment, and because she was a good feminist writer in a way, and she wrote of the women's problems. I'm not too sure. Plight, yeah, I guess. A Simple Story. Just wait till the buzzer stops. It is a simple story. A visiting conductor, when I was 17, took me back to his hotel room to cover the music scene. I'd written a composition, Would Wonders Never Cease? Here was a real musician, prepared to hold my peace. He spread my score on the counterpane with classic casualness and put one hand on the manuscript and the other down my dress. It was hot as hell in the Windsor. I said I'd like a drink. We talked across gin and grapefruit, and I heard the ice go clink. I gazed at the lofty forehead of one who led the band and guessed at the hoarded sorrows no wife could understand. I dreamed of a soaring passion as an egg might dream of flight, while he read my crude sonata. If he'd said, that bar's not right, or have you thought of a coda, or watch that first repeat, or modulate to the dominant, he'd have had me at his feet. But he shuffled it together and said, that's lovely, dear. And as he put it down on the washboard, in a way that made it clear, that I was no composer, and I was being young and vain, and removed my lovely body from one who scorned my brain. I swept off like Miss Virtue down dusty Roma Street and heard the good trains whistle, hoot, hoot,
Bring them back.
in aching heat.
Wow, you read that very well.
Yeah, well, I've read it a few times, so it really does help to sort of get these things in front. But yeah, that's a powerful poem, isn't it? It's like, fuck you, mate. You're not gonna fuck me. I'm out of here. Yeah.
Do you ever do this up on the stage?
Not only on Saturday morning, but we don't have enough usually. Generally, yeah.
Very, very sad. Is that of all the poems, a couple I've read or you've read, that's the one that reminds me of her standing in front of me talking together. That's the one that reminds me of her presence. That poem.
That was 17 before she left Brisbane, and she mentions Roma Street there. So, yeah. It's funny. When I got off the train from Cleveland and into Roma Street, and I walk around and I'm looking for the transit centre. It's disappeared. It's not there anymore. They've pulled it all down and they're redoing it all.
But it's still at Roma Street.
Roma Street's there. It's the old-fashioned platform's still there, but they're just all building and
I get you.
It needed doing.
Yeah. All right. Look, I got just one more for you. Before we Les Murray, the quality of sprawl.
Quality of what?
The quality of sprawl.
Oh.
Like, yeah. Sprawl is the quality of the man who cut down his Rolls Royce into a farm utility truck. And sprawl is what the company lacked when it made repeated efforts to buy the vehicle back and repair its image. Sprawl is doing your farming by aeroplane, roughly, or driving a hitchhiker that extra 100 miles home. It's the rococo of being your own still centre. It's never lighting cigars with $10 notes. That's idiots' ostentation and murder of starving people. Nor can it be bought with the ash of $1 million deeds. Sprawl lengthens the legs, it trains greyhounds on liver and beer. Sprawl says, why not, with palms comically raised? Nor can it be dressed for, not even in running shoes worn with mink and a nose ring. That's society, that style. Sprawl is more like the 13th banana in a dozen, or anyway the 14th. Sprawl is Hank Stamper in Never Give an Inch, bisecting an obstructive official's desk with a chainsaw. Not harming the official, sprawl is never brutal, though it's often intransigent. Sprawl is never Simon de Montfort. At a town storming, kill them all, God will know his own. Knowing the man's name, this was said to might be sprawl. Sprawl occurs in art, the 15th to 21st lines of a sonnet, for example, and in certain paintings. I have sprawl enough to have forgotten which paintings. Turner's glorious burning of the Houses of Parliament comes to mind. A doubling of bannered triumph of sprawl, except he didn't fire them. Sprawl gets up the nose of many kinds of people, every kind that comes in kinds, whose futures don't include it. Some decry it as criminal presumption. Silken-robed Pope Alexander dividing the New World between Spain and Portugal. If he smiled in petto afterwards, perhaps the thing did have sprawl. Sprawl is really classless, though. It's John Christopher Frederick Murray, asleep in his neighbour's bed in his best spurs and oilskins, but not having thrown up. Sprawl is never Callum, who in the loud hallway of our house reinvented the festoon rather. It's Beatrice Miles going 1200 ditto in a taxi. No lurid advances, no hitting animals, no speeding on the proceeds of a two-bobber sonnet, Shakespeare readings, an image of my country, and would that it were more so. No, sprawl is full gloss murals on a council house wall. Sprawl leans on things, it's loose-limbed in its mind, reprimanded and dismissed. It listens with a grin and one boot up on the rail of possibility. It may have to leave the earth, being roughly Christian. It scratches the other cheek and thinks it's unlikely, though people have been shot for sprawl.
But I found that poem sprawl.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It must have been
And
the
I-
whole point to do that, though.
I loved the
Yeah.
first 20% of it, and then I enjoyed the experience, but it was sprawl.
I agree.
I'll just shut
And
up.
he knew that too.
I'll just shut up. Fancy having to follow up on that.
Oh yeah, but like, what about that line? Like the sprawl occurs in that the 15th to 21st lines in a sonnet, for
Yeah,
example.
but that's what you talk about in the sonnet afterwards. It's like, oh, that was good.
And yet it works. It
Because
works
it's
and
only
does
got
not
14 lines.
work.
Exactly, I know.
And yet it works and does not work
Yeah.
like sprawl is trying to do.
Yeah,
It's a strange poem.
yeah. It is. All right, well,
Okay.
Saul Caffarella, welcome back after a long
Wow.
absence.
He's described you perfectly in that poem. Yeah, the still heart of the Rococo.
Sprawl.
How can you have Rococo with a still heart?
Well, hello everyone. Been a while since I've set my foot in this
How you
hall.
doing, Saul?
Last time I was here, I was doing a bush dance.
Are you dancing?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
an
was
excellent
playing the
night too it
microphone.
was.
Yeah, it was a good one, wasn't it?
I did, was. Yes.
I'm just going to do a couple that I wrote last year when, I don't know, one was when I was having a bit of a rough time, and there's another sort of a climatey sort of one. Okay, so I missed the boat and told the captain and the crew, don't wait for me. So I set sail in a tin can and thought I could take this ship out into the open sea. But the current and the winds and tides and the pirates came with their broadsides, all held me back from what I thought was my destiny. I rode against the wind and tide and stayed afloat against those broadsides, all the while that I fought for life, fought for my life. My life was laid out before my eyes. As I survived, I grew wise. Then I realised, to my surprise, I had become the captain of the good ship on the sea of destiny. That's all about that one.
Did you write that yourself?
Yeah.
That's a Steve Wordsmith line. That one about the rise of the surprise of the denies.
Yeah, that's it. I have to just have a little look for this one. Grim.
You nearly got it.
There we go.
Nearly got it.
So this is a sort of a bit of a climate action one. The grim tale of the plankton and the megatrees who thought they ruled the world. If only you were common and I could find you anywhere. But it seems that life's a mystery and that some things are quite rare. Maybe I'm a fool in love with breathing nice clean air and swimming in an ocean without plastic getting in my hair. There is a simple story that we all need to understand, that once upon a time the air was full of carbon like the beach is full of sand. and that most of life was plankton in the seas and huge mega trees upon the land, and that plankton and those mega trees thought that life was grand. They lazed in the sunshine and gobbled up that carbon for breakfast, lunch and tea, and they partied and they partied and they gorged themselves indeed. Then, one day, day by day, they died. They suffered for their greed. They ate up all that carbon and fell to the bottom of the sea. And on the land they'd grown and grown through generations past, but they too fell and were buried, victims of their lust. Because they breathed out oxygen, they changed the air that was so suited to their taste. It was not sustainable, and in a way, they suffocated on their waste. When their reign was over and they were fossilising into coal and oil, all the oxygen that they'd made lit the fuse for all us critters to embroil ourselves into the lot in which we fall and play and pray and love and politic and toil. Our super clever brain thought up grand ideas. We left the path of nature and things began to spoil. Like necromancers now, who raise those ancient dead who thought they ruled the world, their rotted corpses laced with methane add to the atmospheric greenhouse swirl. And we burn their carbon bodies to charge our industry and make our engines whirl. Now, today, day by day, we return that carbon back into the world. Good sense is held for ransom for fear that we'll lose the things we have done by the soulless governments and energy tycoons who tell us when it rains there is no sun, and without our crude and filthy fuel the world just wouldn't run. But that's a lie, and now's the time we're looking down the barrel of nature's gun. Every day that we live a lie, that lie becomes the truth. Unlike the plankton and those mega trees, for us there's no excuse. We can't live in poison. Coal and oil is the proof. So make every little step you take count, like putting solar panels on the roof. Now's the time to demand and stand, and if we have to, fight, and understand that in the end, we either die or we unite to make it right. The air we breathe has no borders, and the sun is infinite. We need to change or the climate will, and we can kiss ourselves goodnight. So if you hear this tale when I'm no longer here, and my children's children's children can all breathe clean, fresh air, maybe we will have realised that it's the one thing we all share, and that the world this globe we live upon is extraordinary and rare.
Woo! Wow. Did you write that too?
Yeah.
Yay, yay, yay.
I like writing.
Wow.
A lot of creative people on the New England.
Yeah, I'm about 5 of them.
That's true.
I know.
Funny nights here.
Now, there was an awful tragedy yesterday in Queensland or the other day, where some young policeman was shot, and I awoke to the news, and I'm sure everyone else was shocked by the news, and I felt the pain in my heart for those people. So I've written 2 poems here. One is a tribute to those young people just doing their job, and the other one is, it's about grief. It's about overcoming grief. Now, when you talk about your grief or your past grief, you keep bringing it up, you never let go, but we can let go of grief, and part of letting go of grief is going through the stages of grief. Now, there's either 5 or 7 stages depending on who you talk to, but when you're aware of those stages, it allows you to release some of those stuck emotions and move on into acceptance and moving forward in your life. And so I'll do the first one, which is the tribute, and then I'll do the other one because I think it's useful. We can all benefit in some way. It's a quick one, the first one. Just doing their job. feeding their family, putting food on the table, paying a mortgage or rent, executed, shot dead to the head, serving, undeserving, rest in peace, executed police. That's it. That's all that needs to be said. Thank you. Now, the next one, the healing. There's an ocean of sadness where people get caught drowning in sadness about what life has brought. Some are treading water, but some learn to swim, and until they reach the land, they never give in. To get to the land, you must get across grief reef to the lagoon, break through the surf and the stages of grief. The first waves are vile, their anger and denial. I can't believe this happened, being frustrated for a while. Until the next wave is bargaining, the last wave, depression, until reaching acceptance lagoon, or go into regression. In acceptance lagoon, the swimming is smooth, gratitude, the attitude we've got nothing to lose. There's an ocean of sadness, but a continent of bliss, where gratitude is given for the people that we miss, and forgiveness is standard in the land known as joy. Leave the ocean of grief, the tactic we employ. All right, now where was I? I was going to, were you next after Saul? Doug. Are you ready, Doug? Or I'll chuck another one in. A real quick, short one about a rose. I rose to the summer flowers. I rose early in the morn. I rose to see the flowers, and the sun rose in the dawn. And if you want to see the beautiful roses, go down to the council building out the front. They're absolutely stunning, aren't they?
They are. Yeah.
Everywhere this time of year. Welcome, Doug.
There you go.
If I say
Crapping,
something,
running around and taking
just for a
crap.
minute. But that's my old school.
Doesn't mean I'm
Where he's
special,
the
I hope.
headmaster.
Oh, no, none of that. None of that.
So I'd just like to send my condolences.
God's short and sweet tonight.
That's all right.
Good evening. Were they looking or
Mr.
listening or
Train,
clapping
he
or
was the
something?
headmaster.
Yeah, there's a whole world out there.
Millions of
Sad,
them.
I discovered it today on the computer. Upset me. Very upsetting.
I'm not looking at you because you're talking. I'm looking at you because I've got a bit of ego.
A bitter ego or a bit of?
If you
Sorry,
detect,
sorry.
If you detect more ego, please clap. Please
help
clap. Shut me up.
I couldn't help
Keep your butt.
We're only human.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have any excuse. Anyway, you can. No, look, I didn't do anything for a poem today. I thought, bugger it. I've got other shit going on, excuse the language. But I thought, well, I can have a go at a haiku and I don't know what it is. And it actually gave me some encouragement.
And I didn't know what it is.
Well, there you go, see? That's my excuse. No one knows what it is. Okay. But I like being here for a couple of minutes because I notice others, they don't just talk about a poem, they talk about how they're going. You know, I've got a couple of things, a couple of insights to share with the mob here. I went to the birthplace of the nation on Monday, in brackets, Tenterfield, Wollongara. We went up with the Trains North mob to try and stimulate a bit of railway thinking. And we got a bit of stimulation going, and I just want to report something I thought was interesting. An Aboriginal lady, a matriarch from the mission in Armidale, came up, and she contributed here and there quite a bit, and one of her offerings is she's going to write a letter to a couple of important people that could be helpful to this project. And what she's going to do, she's going to write it in Aboriginal language. She's going to make them work. I love that. Lazy bastards, I'm gonna drink. No, she's giving it to him in Aboriginal. I was very impressed. You know, I don't want to criticise him. All right, I think that's about it. And now then to report to Steve over here, just to remind me, I've been to Yetman, you've been everywhere, but I've been to Yetman.
You've been yet,
And
yes,
it's not to be underestimated.
I haven't yet, man.
yes, we can.
You haven't yet? Okay, you could write a poem.
What a
All
funny
right.
place.
Okay, I've got a couple. It's funny, I was just saying to James, when you write one of these, you think you might be able to write another one, but they're probably all wrong. All right. Here we go. I drive up the road from the Dale. The trucks are my friends, and I wait. Haiku I make, clap for my sake. What the fuck's that, mate? No, wait on. Oh, okay.
That's getting limerick.
Well, that's a limerick.
We've got a limerick.
I don't know what it is.
That's funny, right there.
I'll
Funny.
try and get it cleared up for next time. It's not a haiku, it's a limerick. All right, here's another one. It just comes to you, you know it's on. A bird landed on my arm. It said, "Oh shit, you're not a tree." Trees are hard to find. Is that a limerick?
That's getting more haiku.
Is it a limerick?
That's getting more haiku.
Yeah.
That's prophetic.
Yeah.
That's prophetic.
Just comes to you, can't help it. Yeah. I've got one more. And this is a sad thing, and it brought up being up there on Monday, it reminded me some of my relatives, and one of them was a casualty of the MacArthur family, that's my mum's family, and my grandfather MacArthur did a lot of surveying for Queenstown Railways. Anyway, that's one part of it, but he lost a son in the First World War. And I just want to read a couple of lines because I love to write on. My uncle died at Pozières, uphill from Albert Town in France. A dark black thing, he called it. A couple of weeks before he died, he sent my grandfather a black and white photo, and that's what he wrote on the back of it. A dark black thing. I mean, bless his heart.
Yeah. Oh, tongue in cheek. That reminds me. I've got a hat. Are you ready?
You gonna hand it around? Well, he wants to put something in.
Nothing there. Ready? What do you expect?
I saw it.
In there.
I saw it.
You were expecting a rabbit, weren't you?
No, I saw what you brought out. I knew it was anticipation.
That's it. Yeah. No rabbits in the hat, but yes, there's a unicorn up my bum.
Oh, how Australian.
Yeah, I know. It is, isn't it? Yeah. A little green one too.
Oh, he's looking a bit
Yeah.
mad.
Oh well, hang on. We'll turn him inside out, and he's a happy one now. See, it's because he's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hallelujah.
Tongue in cheek. Oh look, if I don't know if you saw the Guyra Gazette today, but some of the preschoolers graduated and they had a graduation ceremony, and you know the children laughed their way through the slideshow presentation, sang their way through a special performance, and proudly walked to the stage to receive their certificate. The night was topped off with the children cutting the graduation cake and a graduation cap toss. Woo!
Wow.
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Fantastic. Tongue in cheek. Not sorry for what I'm about to say. For fuck's sake, graduating preschool is no fucking big deal any day. There's been no fucking hard effort, goals, planning or hard work. Graduating preschool is a parent's wank and jerk. There's No fucking way I can take this serious. Parents who live through their kids vicariously. It's not rocket science, it's baby fairy floss. Like putting lipstick on your dick and having a toss.
What about the cake?
What about I know. Look, hey, you know, comedians can say shit like that and get away with it, you know, because you're having a laugh, right? Okay.
Tell it like it is.
You do, yeah. Seriously, like if it was like you got your doctorate or even your bachelor, come on, preschool, we're all going to get past grade 5, aren't we? All right. Yeah, well, look.
I don't agree with that.
Hey?
That doesn't matter.
You don't agree with
I'll
that?
do an opposite poem another day.
That's fine. Look,
Another
we
day.
don't have
I know
to
it is,
agree
yeah,
with it.
yeah.
I just like to take the piss out
Well,
of
I
it.
sort of agree with it, and then I don't. I sort of do and don't. We hate the thing we love.
Fanciful love. Contented in my arms, in your arms, ruminating, conversation, like contemplating myself. Dancing and singing beside my best friend, my mate, adventuring, exploring the wonders of life, of living and loving the world we're in.
Woo!
Very
It's
nice.
short, but
No, that's beautiful.
this one I did the other day when we had a thunderstorm. So, thundercloud in the sky. Listen to the thunderstorm in the sky. It's enlightening, igniting the colours and of your eyes, frightening, exciting. Energy fields, connection of souls. It's lightning, a light show dancing in the sky, drawing pictures of the sky, in the sky, of the land and the mountains. Picking out to see the beauty of explosions and emotions of the energy fields lit up like the midst of the day, appreciating the wondrous thunderclouds in the sky. And the rain starts to fall, settles the dust of the past, wrapped up inside the warm cocoa, cherry slice, cosily, cuddly, snuggly,
Last one. Cozy, cuddling.
That's
snuggly,
thunder.
are we?
Are we? Oh, yeah, I thought.
Yay!
I thought it was Santa's away. Now we know what turns him on.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Yeah, write a poem about thunder. Go on, yeah. All right.
That was quite a storm where you are. That was
It
one
was,
of
it was beautiful.
the spots to see it. Yeah.
You're
I was in the middle of it too. Not that far from
Oh,
it.
no. We're going to do the play next, aren't we? Oh, we'll do the play next, actually.
I was
So, daydreams come true. Yes, they really do. When you live with passion, your life, your fashion with patient plant seeds that grow forests of trees, commitment to deeds, carry water, pull weeds.
Wow.
Simple. Simple. It's right, because I've planted seeds and I've seen in my forest from my seeds, like a real one. And I remember I used to catch this double-decker bus to school when I was a kid, and I used to daydream about living in a double-decker bus, and of course painting it all over and travelling around and stuff, and I eventually did. I also had this dream when I was a bit younger of having a sort of a nightclub. It's better. It's a whole stage. Yeah, it's a theatre. So yeah, so they do come true. Dreams come true. So we've got the performers. Where are we reading from?
Shep, eh?
Are we coming up here? Are we reading from the chair? Or?
How the acoustics go? Will you catch it if people stay where they are? Or will
Probably
they,
not.
But haven't we
and
got
we all
a
have to
bit
go up there. We'll do this as a separate instalment.
I'll have to.
Well, if
my
you
trousers, that's all right.
do you want to bring your chair over and sit on,
Oh,
sit on
okay.
the chair here? So then,
Haven't we got a bit
My belt.
Who's Moses in the bit? Which one's
Are you going to run right
Yeah.
on Moses?
He's not Moses. You're the brewery, and Gladys is your mother Hatshepsut. I'll quickly introduce it, and then I'll say the name of the character before you do your speech each time,
Yeah.
so that the audience don't get confused, or at least not more confused than they
I'm
otherwise would.
confused already.
You'll have to stand back
Those
this
of
way.
you who've got scripts,
Also your back's
all the things in italics, ignore them. They're the tunes that the rhythm came from in the first place.
Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just the bits in there. That's yours.
world premiere here.
This is a play in verse. It's half fantasy, but it's based on the truth. And it takes place in about 1500 BC in ancient Egypt, where the only female pharaoh until Cleopatra is contemplating what will happen after she dies. She's near the end of her life. And some people think that she was the one in the Bible who rescued Moses from the bulrushes, rather than Ramses is 200 years later. And she was followed by the greatest general in Egyptian history called Moses III. And again, Ramses II claimed that he was, but that's not the way the evidence actually shows on the results. So this is called Aunt Shep, like the old Elvis song, Old Shep. And Shep here, short for Hatshepsut, the pharaoh. So it's all fairly sparse in a court rather, and I'm going to introduce each character each time. So we begin with Moses.
Isis, Osiris, I'm so I'm so sad and blue. Can't accept my destiny, I long for pastures new. I don't like my people bickering in the sand. Lazy, slavey, habaroo, to lead them I'll be damned. I could be a general, I have good strategy. I long to lead an army to historic victory. I'm not a shepherd, only armed with wooden rod. And I'm never gonna settle for the God Squad.
Moses. I long to be in perfect harmony with the gods who supervise our lives. Oh, let me pray undisturbed all day to our gods.
And Moses
Aye.
again.
I didn't choose my destiny. I don't fit the profile of a pharaoh. I watch my aunt, who knows I can't defend our land against the northern foes of Pharaoh. I dread the day when I must reign. No chance that I'll ever get a fair go. Nightmares of warriors and me. I can't bear the pointless cruelty. If only I could change my destiny.
And Moses.
I was wandering through the desert sands, minding my own affair, when 6 soldiers sprung upon me unaware. One said, "You are Prince Moses?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." He said, "You're the man I've been looking for. Come with us, you must come with us." They got their hands on my mouth. I couldn't shout or make a fuss. They took me to the palace with a bag over my head, dragged me there in silence, not a single word was said. Why this had to be like that, I can't begin to guess. I would have raced there willingly if you were in distress. So, Aunt Shep, dear Aunt Shep, I ain't done nothing wrong, so I must be getting framed.
Hatshepsut too.
And what do I have to do, mate?
Just go, I am dying, I am through.
Oh.
You're the hat.
Oh, right hat.
Your hat.
I am dying. I am no. Don't look doubtful. It's quite true.
Thanks.
You're my
Moses.
pharaoh. Second mum, your word is law. I rest content under your thumb.
And back to Hatchet. Please forgive. On page 3.
I have to read.
I think you've got one page too many. Yeah, here we are.
Please forgive me that clumsy play, but you couldn't be recognised along the way. Virtual meeting may be overdue. Nobody else in Egypt can take the role I offer you.
And carry on. Hatchet.
I was the one who nursed both you boys when you were tiny and wet, as I ruled over Egypt when my husband died. But they called me Witch of Set. I was the one who tamed the cat forever but grace of great past, and I built Dencast, the beautiful tomb. Its glory will last. I ruled here so well. We lived in a rich place, as perfect as could be, but now will look certain, but not for me. It's your destiny.
For Moses.
There's a peril we face from the Mitanni race. The next pharaoh must stop their invasion, like Sesostris of old, smote the Nubians for gold. Egypt must rise to the occasion. Oh, I can't be sorrier. It's not me who can be that mighty warrior. But if there's a traitor in the palace, don't dream to hide, boy. My outstretched arm will smite you dead. Yes, I will tolerate no treason for any reason. So put such thoughts out of your head.
And Moses.
If I were Egypt's general, our country would be great. If I were Egypt's general, the Mitanni met their fate. I was born Habiru, I say, what of that? Now I'm more Egyptian than a Kanak temple cat. Yes, I'm Moses, my guarantee is victory. Yes, I'm Moses, Amun approves my destiny.
And still Moses.
I want it bad, don't get mad. I want it more than figs and beers, Aunt Shep. I love fighting, I love smiting. Egypt's general is my natural next step.
And Thotman.
I say pray and you say fight. I say peace and you say smite. Smite, smite. Well, so you fight for me like you were Pharaoh. Pharaoh, Pharaoh. You lead my troops and I'll be Pharaoh.
And Moses.
If I command your army and I smite your enemy, the scepter of suspicion points at you. You will just go balmy. You will just go balmy.
Yeah.
Overcome with jealousy, I'm afraid you don't know that's true. But if I lose the battle, I will likely die of shame. Now I don't know what I should choose to do. I want to take up arms without these awkward qualms. But you really have to think it through. The scepter of suspicion lies with you.
If you succeed as general, I'd glory in the morning. But you do know me too well. Though I may have it planned, I may turn against you, treat you with injustice, careless of how my feather heart is damned.
And again.
Don't overstep the mark. I thought you were my friend, but you just wanted to wear my royal linen. Do you take me for such a fool, with your bluster and your gifts? You forget your foreign blood, you slave to sinning. Are you ready to die?
Moses.
Are you going to cry? No more wasting breath. Let's fight to death.
And next page. And Hatshepsut. You say fight no more at the top of page 6.
No, picked up here.
Yeah, fight no more.
Fight no more, a civil war I will abort. I can't support such squabbling to stop this fast. I call on Bast, decide this case. We need your grace and guidance.
Thank you. Neferu.
Hatshepsut, my mama, my sovereign,
Scourge.
scourge of rats. changed history forever by domesticated cats. So cool to be your priestess, representing goddess Bast. The ruler of cats, great and small, her range is very vast, and now we ask her judgment. In this tricky, ticklish case, she says she is a way whereby nobody loses face. You boys must swap identities. That's very cool for cats. It's cool for cats.
And continue.
Far from the Nile, the Habiru. Far from the Nile, the tribes demand their due. You're herding cats, ungrateful as can be. You'll be long dead when their posterity records all the sorrow you'll have led them through. They'd have had no tomorrow, were it not for you. Far from the Nile, the Israelites, far from the Nile, through centuries of fights, they will survive when others don't. You need not fear that the future won't forget. Forget your legacy. Your name will lead the book, they'll name the Bible. Never to be lost. Your fate is far beyond tribal, so don't fear the cost.
I'm going to be you, Mo, going to worship your God, going to herd the Habaru with a magic rod, going to forget Dendera as I pass by the Nile. Your tribe's lot will be fairer, and my old gods will smile.
Continue.
I was a king's heir yesterday, but that is very different now. I dreaded ruling yesterday, but light is in my heart somehow. I wouldn't have dreamt it yesterday, but now I know it's true. The warrior king that Egypt needs is you. I hid my prayers yesterday. Nevermore I vow I'll lead the unrighteous Habaru to a new homeland. How? By doing as Jehovah tells me to, and channeling his grace. I'll come to you to let them go. You won't refuse my face. You will be Thutmoses III. I'll be Moses I. Our names will be immortalized till there is no more sun.
Carry on the next one.
Hut, no and hat.
On page 8. So Moses first.
Oh, that's it.
Swapping with you is not a pointless dream. I'll see it through, stay loyal to the team. It's my deepest promise, relieving my distress. The future holds for me nothing but happiness.
Swapping with you, it's right. It's right, though it's so weird. I never dreamt I'd wear the royal beard. Crushing the Batani, I will make history, immortal in your name, but mine will be the victory.
I'll read right now.
This is our
That one, that right. This is our sacred secret. Our gods wanting nothing less. The future held for you is nothing but happiness.
Thank you.
Dies of a sudden heart attack.
Yes.
Oh,
Nearly there, people.
that's dramatic this.
When you were young boys, Aunt Shep, my dear mum, raised you like you were her own. Her life and her reign shone a light on us all. Her achievements forever in stone.
Moses.
Aunt Shep, she has gone, where the good pharaohs go. Amun will be welcoming home his greatest of agents here up on earth. Her person enhanced Egypt's throne.
When I was a baby, adrift on the Nile, Aunt Shep took me on, and there is no maybe. Aunt Shep was divine, the greatest of our dynasty.
The end.
All right, we need a bow. Take a bow.
What's that do?
Beautiful.
Oh, that's recording.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
They lost many a battle to those buggers, the Maitani.
Oh, I mean,
They were really a fierce lot.
Well,
Egyptians hated them. Maitani, yeah. That's the definition of them.
Oh, wow. Hey, that's
Very interesting.
I'll say.
What's the definition of
Right.
Maitani?
I'd like to do a little bit of study on all the songs. I could see where you were going.
do you want to say one away?
Yeah. It'd be good.
I've got all the songs.
Yeah, I can see. I only knew some of them.
Most of them fit this scansion, but one or two I've taken with this one.
Yeah.
Right. So where am I? Okay.
Well, you're in the poultry room.
I am. Yeah, in there. Well, Gladys, are you right to come up? Okay. Because I haven't got
something in your hat.
something in my hat.
It's a Thundercloud.
It's me.
Okay, well, I can good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Australian Poultry Hall. Sadly, tonight will be my last night with poultry until the end of January.
Wow.
You going on
I am
holidays,
taking a break
Bummer.
for the Lamb and Potato Festival and concentrating on some writing, and the festival is, of course, is coming up. So I've decided to take a break, but I have had a wonderful time, but I'll have a break over the Christmas break and then I'll reform, no doubt. But yeah, so I've got some stuff to do, and then of course next week I have things on, so I've decided to just take this break and concentrating on getting myself fit for the Lamb and Potato Festival. And but anyway, I thank James for the time that I've been with him here, but I certainly will be back at the end of January. Anyway, this is one I wrote 3 years ago, actually, I think, a Gum Tree's Lament. And I was looking outside my lounge room window and I thought, well, what am I going to write about? And a tree out in the street inspired me to write, and then I thought, well, a gum tree. And of course this old gum tree is talking. A gum tree's lament. I am a precious old gum tree. I've stood here for more than 100 years or so and faced all kinds of weather with wind, rain and snow. I once felt quite at home on this land where I still dwell, but please take a moment of your time. My sad story I will tell. As you know, many trees were all around me, but sadly they are gone. Their stumps still surround me, where once they all proudly stood upon. As I stand alone in the moonlight, with my leaves all a silvery glow, and dream of the days when I was a young gum tree, all those years ago. Back then, I stood so proud and tall and was a treasure to behold. But the sound of chainsaws now just makes my sap run cold. You may think of me as no longer useful, and my days are nearly done, but I've sheltered you many times from the blazing sun. I give refuge to the weary stock as they rest beneath me every night, and flocks of birds now nestle on my branches after their morning flight. But I beg of you, my good friend, just spare me a little thought as you glance at my ragged old body where many battles have been fought. Of course, I'm not what I used to be, but surely I can trust that you will not cut me down and turn me into sawdust. As my roots all start to tremble now with weeping branches hanging low, and still I dread to think of the terrible day when I may have to go. As I wake up each morning and thankfully take another breath, I pray that you will leave me here just to die a natural death. Now looking to my future, whatever that may be, but I always will remain a precious old gum tree.
Lovely.
Thank you. I'll put this back, we'll get that one, and I'll let James do his stuff
And
now.
of course, if you get too sort of like frustrated with your time off, you're welcome to come and do some therapy anytime.
And when's the lamb? When's the lamb and potato
And the
festival?
Lamb and Potato Festival's on the 11th.
Of January.
Yeah, 11th of January until the 23rd.
In Gora here.
Yeah, up on the highway.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Gladys.
And yeah, well, thank you, James. But
Thank you, Gladys.
yes, and I will be able to concentrate on writing and just take the break. But I will be around. But I've just got to get myself. Well, I've been advised to get myself fit for the Lamb and Potato Festival because that's when, yeah, you've got to
Do some
do.
push-ups.
Yeah, well, mate, you've got to be physically and mentally prepared.
The way you bring that matter, Gladys, you know, you're well and truly fit. The way you bring that.
Gladys, before you go, there's one from Rumi. Rumi's one of the Sufi poets about love, and here it's for you.
Oh, right.
Oh.
This one's about life actually. Make your last journey from this strange world, soar for the heights, where there is no more separation of you and your home. God has created your wings not to be dormant. As long as you are alive, you must try more and more to use your wings to show you're alive.
That's excellent.
Right, and yeah, so I was on, I've just been doing a little bit of study on Sufism, and yeah, so last night, because there's this sort of like the esoteric, the Muslims. So yeah, this one's based on the 99 names of God. Jihad al-Nafs, struggle against self. Remembering, listening, the beneficent, merciful, eternal, the most sacred embodiment of peace, infuser of faith, preserver of safety, the One, the mighty one, omnipotent one, dominant one, creator, evolver, flawless shaper, and great forgiver. The all-prevailing one, supreme bestower, total provider, supreme solver, all-knowing one, the restricting one, the extender, the reducer, the elevating one, honourer, bestower, abaser, all-hearing, all-seeing, impartial judge, embodiment of judgment, justice, knower of subtleties, all-aware one, the clement one, the magnificent one, acknowledging one, sublime one, great one, guarding one, sustaining one, reckoning one, majestic one, bountiful one, watchful one, responding one, all-pervading one, wise one, the loving one, the glorious one, the infuser of new life, the all-observing witness, the embodiment of truth, the universal trustee, strong one, firm one, protecting associate, the sole laudable one, all enumerating one, originator, restorer, maintainer of life, inflictor of death, the eternally living one, the self-sustaining one, pointing one, all noble one, the only one, the sole one, supreme provider, the omnipotent one, all authorities one, the expediting one, delayer, very first, infinite, last one, perceptible, imperceptible, holder of supreme authority, extremely exalted one, fountain of head of truth, ever acceptance of reverence, the retaliator, supreme pardoner, benign one, eternal professor of sovereignty, professor of majesty and honour, the just one, assembler of scattered creations, the self-sufficient one, bestower of sufficiency, the preventer, distresser, bestower of benefits, prime light, provider of guidance, unique one, ever surviving one, eternal inheritors, the guiding path of rectitude, and the extensively enduring one, also full of contradictions,
I was going to say, sounds a little confusing.
which is what you are when you're everything and nothing. Have I mentioned, oh my God?
Inshallah.
So yeah, yeah. I don't know what's funny about it, but it's just like it's the 99 names of God in Islam. So yeah, so different ways of seeing God. Yeah.
That is the Muslim concept of God. To the Muslim mind, God could destroy himself.
Well, everything.
Could.
Like, well,
Yeah.
if it's everything, if it's omnipotent, omnipresent, that means you and I and everything in here is part of God.
But did you write that, or did Rumi write it?
No, that's the prayer.
That's me taking the 99 names of God, mixing them up a bit, taking a lot of the articles away because there were so many thus, and
That's
yeah,
basically it, though.
pretty much. Yeah, apart from the beginning and the end, which was mine.
Sounds very conflicted.
Oh, totally. But
That's the
but-
point.
But it is the point. It's totally. It totally makes sense within, say, Taoist philosophy when, like, you've got yin yang. Yin yang, male, female, you've got the yes and the no, the good and the bad, makes sense within Nietzsche as well, you know, beyond good and evil. And it is even sort of like that centre way of the all-encompassing everything, yeah.
Interesting, all that.
Yes.
Makes a lot of sense, really. Yeah. Oh, for me, it does. I don't know. All right, well, look. I've got... Before oh, John, have you got something for us or not? No,
Oh,
no, that's all good. That's okay.
No,
Don't
I've
feel
got the
obliged. All right. Well then, before Steve comes on up, I'll do one, and then Steve can come on up.
Just got to dive in.
Even ugly children have mums. If you want, you can 3D print machine guns to shoot all the ugly people dead with a bullet to the head. But I'm not a judge. I've been known to bludge. We're all born with 2 thumbs. Even pretty children have mums. Even ugly people can wear fashion. Look at me. It's strength to show compassion, compliment what people wear, their hair, but do not stare. But gorgeous, also pretty, with big titty can be shitty. Remember when on the hunt, a hottie can be an egotistical. Even you and I in the future will all die, and love can be blind. It's a positive strength to be kind. But brown, pink, yellow, green, we're all on the human team. And it only takes a little bit not to be a mean and nasty shit. Steve Wordsworth, come on up.
Do I have to follow that shit?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, even pretty kids have mums.
it's always good to be here in the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame and know that you're going to get the shit pulled out of you, so that's always cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've been pulling shit out of each other for the last 3-4 years here now, James.
Pretty much.
It's been going pretty well, you know. Yeah, I remember about 5-6 years ago meeting a young man that was up on a festival who had a dream. And you see tonight, and the people that come together in the Poetry Hall of Fame here, and what is put together here, that dream has come to light, James. And thank you very much for the energy, and it's always been good to be part of it. There's been many good stories told in this place, and I'm sure there's many more to be told. You know, it's a place where poets can come and feel free to speak the words that they want to speak, and that's good. I enjoy coming to this place. I've been here now for a while, and just wandering around the countryside, just telling tales is not too bad. Sometimes the poems that we speak are not always to the point and such, and have a little bit of a flowery edge to them at times. How are you going, Doug? It's always good to see Doug here. I enjoy your stuff, Doug.
Oh,
You're a
thank
good
you,
man.
too.
Yeah, good
I've been
man, mate.
listening, by the way.
Yeah, you're a good man. These technologies always get me. So if I'm stuffed up with this little thing, there, you know how it is, Doug, don't you? You know. Yeah, I've got it. You know, James here's got it all underhand, and he knows how to make it all work and such. You know, but some of us dopey old dudes, you know, from around the place that don't know how to make it work quite so well. You know, we've got to struggle with this. I wrote this little, and it's been a real night for trees. There's been so many poems about trees, and this morning I was talking to Ashley there in Armadale, and he said, "Have you ever read that book, that story or poem about a tree?" And I thought, no, I haven't read that one, but you know, it sort of sparked my imagination a little bit. So, see if we can find it again now. If I could write a poem as beautiful as a tree, it would stand as a monument and go down in history. The trunk would be strong and tough and make the rhyme authentic and true. I don't even know if I can read it.
You want my glasses?
Yeah.
You want to take a...
Yeah, you get some glasses there, man.
They're just plus twos.
I know that. I'll give you something.
I've got
Make it a bit bigger.
Oh, that makes it work. The bark would show us the splendour of how proud it stands to me and you. The branches break out with twists and turns like the poet's culminating storyline. The colour of the varied leaves leaves me but a gasp. And when flowers come alive in spring with pure beauty, it does show a lesson that is really true for all. Live your life in splendour and allow ourselves to grow. And I had this other little thing here, and you know, it's sort of that Christmassy sort of time of year, you know, so Santa ain't no Satan. Satan's deep within your mind. Santa's only a legend to show you to be kind. It's time to learn some lessons and get over your own self. Time to learn some wisdom and put your mind up on the shelf. You're bound by the distraction, and that is the evil's plan to seek some... Oh, I've lost you. So seek some inner guidance and don't think you are so smart. Learn that mind tells lies. Don't listen to the bullshit. At this time, listen to your heart. Spread happiness. Spread happiness and joy and peace, and lift the vibration frequency high in a positive and vibrant ways. And lift every moment in unconditional love, and have a joyous time with your family, friends. And may all your days be filled in wonders and blessings till we meet in the new year ahead, after our time of celebration. One love, and thank eternal source of everything. You know, we talk about this God character. You know, it's always interesting to get into, because, you know, there's this thing they call about the duality of life. And the duality of life of being involved with the universal plan of everything. Thank you, Saul. That's good. The universal plan of everything, and being bound into religion and such, and religious factors and such of that nature. You know, I think a lot of the world is bound in religion, the ways they are and such, you know. But a lot of people need something to follow. And that is one of the things that poets are supposed to be, is setting out our words and the things that we say. You know, it's good to be, when I'm going to be travelling around over the next few weeks, I'm going to be on the streets of the Gold Coast and the Northern Rivers and such. And asking for people to have our say. We would like to have our say so people can have their say. Because sometimes, you know, we built a government and a representative government in this country because we are such a vast country. But now we're not such a vast country because everybody's got a telephone. Everybody's got the ability to vote. And why can't we have our say? Because there's some clowns doing some things that's not really the way that a lot of people would like to see it done in this country. When you open up your eyes to realise the real lies and realise there's real lies, there's plenty of real lies to be had. And some of the things that's been done to this country and to the people of this country, I disagree with anyway. And yes, it is a time for joyous, happy times and having good times, but be aware, be awake, be aware and be awake, and open up your eyes to some of the truths that's happening. Thank you. Have a great Christmas.
Thank you. Well, thanks for showing us your bumhole.
Yeah, you too. James,
Opinions are like bumholes, aren't they?
Yeah, James is like the artful fart.
Do you want me to read it, do you?
All right, one for Ashley.
Oh, okay.
One-legged stock.
Oh, okay. And I will read something.
You will? Okay.
And say my sorrows for
All right.
my school, my old school.
Yeah. All right. So this is one Ashley's been asking me for a while to read out the one-legged stock, and then he can come on up and I'll finish off with something light and X-rated. Well, it's M15 plus rated anyway.
But light, fits in a bowl.
Definitely. You've got to finish off on a light note. Yeah. Beauty. This is called the one-legged stockman, by the way. Beauty is once around the sun, though our eyes may never comprehend. Poets sent off to war, boys given guns and told to kill boys they've never met. It was the year the drought broke, pests in the wheat silo. Silver moon reflects off the lagoon, black swans have started building nests. Marching with packs and rifles, desert warfare in trenches, legless farm boys with bullets embedded. There was a mouse plague that year, run across your face in bed. The stars look very clear tonight. Days become nights, become days. Blindfolded in the infirmary, sent home on crutches. Blackie walks in the gate, dog slinks down, snarls at the stranger. Old Bluey got bit by a typhoid. Silhouette gum trees in sunset, crepuscular rays. One-legged stockman. Nobody ever thought he'd ride a horse. Whip cracks, dog barks, cattle turn. Rivers high and rising, all those full-bellied snakes. Beauty is another trip around the sun. Gratitude's an attitude. Poet, farm boy, soldier, one-legged stockman with a whip, billy of tea on the campfire, Johnny cakes and golden syrup. Flies buzz around the swag. All right, so Ashley, thank you. Me.
Yes.
Well,
when I was up north, I brought my rulers back, but I forgot them tonight. They're out in the kitchen, so we'll have to imagine hypothesis and implication and parameter existing in the world of the great whirling dervish chant. There's a little tin mosque at Burke, And I used to stand there and watch the great big square blanks of cotton being laid down out on the embankment, and just up from the rusting tin of the mosque. And I used to think of some of the things of tonight's gathering. I had planned to read this poem before this evening. It's called Christmas Trees, a Christmas circular letter. So it keeps on with the tree theme. Only shows that even if all trunks don't have a root, there are still roots that want a trunk. This is a poem of Robert Frost's, and the more I learn about Robert Frost's short story poems, short stories, the more intrigued I am by them. So, Christmas Trees, a Christmas circular letter. The city had withdrawn into itself and left at last the country to the country. All out of doors looked darkly in at him, through the thin frost almost in separate stars that gathers on the pane in empty rooms. What kept his eyes from giving back? Hold on, I went over a page. Sorry, I'll start again. Christmas Trees, a Christmas circular letter. The city had withdrawn into itself and left at last the country to the country. When between whirls of snow not come to lie and whirls of foliage not yet laid, there drove a stranger to our yard who looked the city, yet did in country fashion, in that there he sat and waited till he drew us out, our buttoning coats to ask him who he was. He proved to be the city come again, to look for something it had left behind, and could not do without and keep its Christmas. He asked if I would sell my Christmas trees, my woods, the young fir balsams, like a place where houses all are churches and have spires. I hadn't thought of them as Christmas trees. I doubt if I was tempted for a moment to sell them off their feet to go in cars and leave the slope behind the house all bare, where the sun shines now no warmer than the moon. I'd hate to have them know it if I was. Yet more, I'd hate to hold my trees, except as others hold theirs, or refuse for them beyond the time of profitable growth. The trial by market everything must come to. I dallied so much with the thought of selling, then whether from mistaken courtesy and fear of something short of speech, or whether from hope of hearing good of what was mine, I said, there aren't enough to be worthwhile. I could soon tell how many they would cut. You let me look over them. You could look, but don't expect I'm going to let you have them. Pasture they spring in, some in clumps too close, that lop each other of boughs, but not a few quite solitary, and having equal boughs all round and round. The latter he nodded yes to, or paused to say beneath some lovelier one with the buyer's moderation, that would do. I thought so too, but wasn't there to say so. We climbed the pasture on the south, crossed over and came down on the north. He said, 1,000 Christmas trees? At what a piece? He felt some need of softening that to me. 1,000 trees would come to $30. Then I was certain I had never meant to let him have them, never show surprise, but $30 seemed so small beside the extent of pasture I should strip. 3 cents, for that was all they figured out apiece. 3 cents, so small beside the dollar friends I should be writing to within the hour, would pay in cities for good trees like these. Regular vestry trees, whole Sunday schools could hang enough on to pick off enough. 1,000 Christmas trees I didn't know I had, worth 3 cents more to give away than sell, as may be shown by a simple calculation. Too bad I couldn't lay one in a letter. I can't help wishing I could send you one. In wishing you herewith a Merry Christmas. And I would like to say that my sympathies go out to anyone watching this who's had associations of, as I've had with Walgett Primary and Walgett High School, now with the reassuring word community put before their name. I walked through those doors with my comrades there many times, and it must be very difficult for them to face that Mr. Train was there as their deputy or as their principal for some time, and they all have said in the media of the last 30 or 40 hours that he was a very fine man indeed, and they can't imagine these things, nor any can imagine how they could snap at any moment given any circumlocution that doesn't quite make it for our or their personal destinies. So I think sympathies, as always, go to Walgett.
Yes, well, all right, well, a fairy story with trolls, rated M, 15 plus. Well, you've heard my one about Astra and Zen, like they fell in love and that? Yeah, okay, well, it's the same two fairies.
Same too. Is this before or after they?
Oh, this is now. This is just a different part of their life. Yeah.
Okay.
One day, Astra the fairy went walking in the forest. She'd had enough dancing and she needed to rest. She went all alone and was feeling a little tired. Well, you never believe what next conspired. She lay down under a tree and fell fast asleep. So deep asleep, she didn't hear the trolls creep down from their cave where they took her away, back to their cave. The trolls wanted to play. They put Astra in a cage with a kitten and a pup, gave her a bikini and told her to put on makeup. Zen went to Astra's and saw she was gone, but he knew the log in the forest that she loved to rest on. As he arrived, he saw the trolls creep away with Astra in the bag, growling, "Let's play." Zen sent a distress call via fairy telepathy. All the fairies heard it with their fairy empathy. They swarmed to the troll cave and the fairies attacked, outnumbered the trolls and got Astra back. At home, they gave her a dress and remover of makeup. But she said, "I like this makeup and how my bikini goes up my crack. I'm good looking, am I not? And for Zen, my hero, I want to look hot." Now, watch, my dear Zen. Astra started to dance. She was so hot, Zen got a lump in his pants. "You rescued me, Zen, when I was missing." Astra grabbed Zen and began passionately kissing. The end.
Well, that's the end.
It wasn't really that X-rated, was it?
It sounds like the beginning to me.
It's only the beginning, yeah.
Reminded me of the Professor's play.
Yeah. Yes, all right. Well, thank you very much. Look, and I even had to draw Astra, the troll, and Zen. Yeah, they were my inspiration. Right, and the tree. Yeah, so another mention of a tree. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for coming along tonight. If you're there on YouTube, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you very much.
Same